Hey guys, Jeffrey here with another episode of Auto Alchemy. As you've probably noticed, I've been gone for a couple of weeks. Oops. I've just been feeling a little down, a little weak. Thankfully, the wonderful Love Lou reminded me that my geekiness is my strength. So I decided to capitalize on these geeky vibrations that I've been emanating, and I'm also capitalizing on the fact that in only a month, the final season of Game of Thrones will premiere. So what I'm going to do is run some of my favorite characters through the old objective personality meat grinder. And we're going to start off with a fan favorite, Ned Stark. So I want to open with a couple of caveats here. I think there's a lot to be said for whether or not it even makes sense to try to type a fictional character. My personal take is that if the character is well created by any means and has any sort of internal consistency, then it does make sense. You can kind of find ways that they fit into these, prepackaged archetypal patterns. But even if you disagree, I hope you'll find this to be a pretty fun exercise. It's almost a relief to me in a way that there is no correct final answer that I can check myself against here. Another thing that I want to address really quickly is the fact that it can get really tricky when you have a story that's been adapted from a book and then made for television. So I'm going to limit myself only to the things that we see in the show, even though the books give you a rich interior perspective that would actually probably help in the typing, but oh well, what can you do? And finally, I just wanted to say that if you care at all about avoiding spoilers and you haven't seen the show and you plan on doing it, this is not the place that you want to be. So the first thing that I caught with Ned Stark was his insistence on reasons. You can see that a little bit right at the very beginning whenever he's convincing Kat that it's important for Bran to come watch the beheading of the Night's Watch deserter. He says, Bran's not going to be a boy forever, winter's coming. He's trying to convey this sense that it's time to grow up. There are good reasons to grow up. He also finds it really important to convey to Bran the reason that he, Ned, had to be the one to swing the sword and behead the guy. He also explains to Jaime Lannister that he doesn't fight in tournaments because he doesn't want a man to know what he can do when the real fighting comes. And then I have a short clip here to demonstrate some more of the reasoning. So basically he is trying to persuade King Robert that it's absurd to want to assassinate Daenerys, who is being wed to Khal Drogo. And Ned explains that it's wrong because she's a child, and then they have this little exchange.
So what do you mean by not speaking of this?
Oh, it's unspeakable to you? What her father did to your family, that was unspeakable.
What Rhaegar Targaryen did to your sister, the woman I loved.
I'll kill every Targaryen I get my hands on.
You can't get your hands on this one, can you?
This Khal Drogo. It said he has 100,000 men in his horde.
Even 1,000,000 doth Rakia no threat to the realm. As long as they remain on the other side of the narrow sea. They have no ships, Robert.
There are still those in the Seven Kingdoms who call me usurper.
So basically, and not to give too much away, but you get the sense that Ned's saying, you're being a little irrational, you're letting your emotions cloud your judgment. Why don't we look at the facts? They can't cross the narrow sea. They don't have ships. The Dothraki don't even like water. They find it to be horrifying. So let's just cool it down a little bit. I think it's also safe to say pretty early on that he is not a play lead. He's kind of known for being a humorless guy and is deeply withdrawn, and I would even argue that he's not blast play or play blast. He's not that double extroverted, punchy kind of character, and also not the yibby skibby consume play or play consume. Sleep is obviously the savior for Ned Stark, or a savior. I'm not sure which one yet, but it is one of his saviors. I'm also feeling pretty confident that this is T.I. and not T.E. You can get a sense of that on the basis of how Ned is very me versus the world. He has very masculine T.I. These are the reasons that we cannot do this. This is why this is a bad idea. And I don't care about your irrational feelings. I know that you're angry. I know that you're scared, but it doesn't make sense. And in this scene that I'm about to play, you can see him giving reasons for why they shouldn't trust Jorah Mormont, who is basically spying on Daenerys and has let them know that Daenerys is pregnant with Khal Drogo's baby. I know it's a lot of mythology. I don't think you'd be watching this video if you didn't feel familiar with the characters, but I feel like I have to explain a little bit. So off we go.
He broke the law, betrayed his family, fled our land. We commit murder on the word of this man.
And if he's right, if she has a son, a Targaryen at the head of a Dothraki army, what then?
The narrow sea still lies between us. I'll fear the Dothraki, the day they teach the horses to run on water.
Do nothing.
So once again, he's coming back to those same reasons that he had before. They're very fixed. He's not moving. And I've always appreciated that about him. That's what everybody appreciates about him. Ned Stark is a man of honor, a man of his word. What's not to love? So if he has a masculine sense of identity but a feminine relationship with the tribe, then how might that play out? And even though tribe would be a demon for him, I do think that he's a double decider, so it's not as perceptible that it's a demon, because he is pretty good at pivoting between getting input from other people and then focusing on what's important to him. And I think you can see that feminine extroverted decider in the way that he deals with certain things, with like his daughter, for instance. Whenever Arya expresses that she's not really interested in being a lady and, you know, marrying some lord, and that she really just wants to go sword fighting, he's like, yeah, okay, I respect that. I respect your values. As a matter of fact, I'm going to get sword lessons for you so that if you're going to do this, you're going to do it according to my reasons and on terms that I feel comfortable with. So you can kind of see that give and take there. I hope that makes sense. I feel like I'm just making stuff up as I go at this point. I'm also thinking that he's ST as opposed to NT. You know, Ned's not some freaking four-eyed nerd. He's not burying his face in a book. He's not trying to go to the Citadel and figure out some cool abstract magic related things. He's a former soldier, and he seems to be drawn to tradition and the simple things in life. So the question then is he Savior SI or Savior SE? And I actually do think that he's Demon Gather. You can tell that he's sort of repulsed by all of the excesses, all of the overconsumption that you see in the capital. And like I said, he's very traditional, and stereotypically SI is thought of as being a traditional kind of function. In some way, it kind of maintains a certain status quo. And then I think you can very easily make the case that he has demon intuition and is unable to see the bigger picture. In King's Landing, there are just too many different people playing the game, and that's not what he's about. He doesn't make the connection that Cersei will not leave the city with her children once the incest revelation happens. He doesn't see that Littlefinger is scheming and plotting and might as well just be jabbing a dagger in his back, man. So the final question is, what's missing? Is he missing play or is he missing blast? And that's a tough one because he does kind of mumble a lot. He just kind of mutters. He definitely isn't particularly playful, and I think that it doesn't really matter too much. If I had to guess, I would say that he's missing play because he is just one sleepy guy, and the missing animal kind of always accentuates its opposite. So if you're missing play, you're gonna, I mean, just look at this mother effer. Look at his face. This is a deeply introspective world. I would also assume that his sensing function is masculine, and I don't have a lot to go on other than the fact that he doesn't seem double feminine, and he's also very meticulous about figuring out just what's going on with Joffrey's lineage whenever he's reading that one book about the genealogy of royalty, whatever. But you can tell that I have feminine sensory. So that leaves us with Ned Stark being masculine, feminine, SITI, sleep, consume, blast, play. So that means that Ned is a jumper. He's a form of ISFJ, but this would also account for why whenever you go on the internet and try to look him up, a lot of people will say ISFJ, some people will say ISTJ, and I think a lot of that is you know, this sense that T means masculine or male and F means feminine. But there's also something to the fact that he is sort of embodying some sort of middle ground here between those stereotypical ways of being. I hope that made sense. Anyway, what do you guys think? Does that seem right? Or does he seem more like an ISTP? Does he seem like an ISTJ? Maybe I'm wrong. I'm completely receptive to being wrong about this fictional character who actually doesn't have a personality, despite everything that I said before. And please let me know in the comments which character you'd like to see me type next. I'm planning on doing a few more in preparation for the season, so yeah, looking forward to your feedback. Thanks for liking, commenting, subscribing, and tickling that bell icon. I'll talk to you next time.